Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Portsmouth Port and Industrial Commission meeting for Tuesday, January 27, 2026. Roll call vote, please. Roll call, please.
Mr. Barham.
Here.
Mr. Foster is absent. Mr. Hanson is absent. Ms. McSwain is also absent. Mr. Peterman.
Here.
Mr. Rice.
Present.
And Ms. Allen.
Present.
Chair, we do have a quorum.
Thank you. Before you have the minutes of the December 23rd, 2025 meeting, we will need a motion for approval in a second. We have a motion. Do I have a second? We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Barham.
Yes.
Mr. Peterman.
Yes.
Mr. Rice.
Yes.
And Ms. Allen.
Yes.
Chair, the item is approved by a vote of 4-0.
Thank you. We bypassing the Port of Virginia update?
Actually, I do have a report that Mr. Gullickson, who was not able to join us, he did provide me prior to the meeting a report that if it's appropriate, Chair, I'd like to read on his behalf since he couldn't attend the meeting today.
Please do.
Okay, so Mr. Chris Gullickson with the Port of Virginia has reported out that trade uncertainty contributed to an 8% decline in calendar year 2025 container volumes. However, despite the downturn, volumes have begun to rebound, led primarily to growth in exports. And even with the decline, calendar year 25 ranked among the Port of Virginia's top 5 years for total annual volume handled. For Portsmouth Marine Terminal, components for the Coastal Virginia Offshore Wind Project continue to arrive at PMT, with the third topside substation scheduled to arrive in the coming weeks. In addition, outbound shipments of towers, blades, and turbines have commenced aboard the Charybdis, which is the Dominion Energy vessel, following the federal court's injunction allowing offshore wind construction to proceed. So it looks like we've got good progress occurring again at PMT and with the CVAL project overall, now that it's back underway. One additional item which relates to aid to local ports. The Port and the Economic Development Department have met to discuss grant opportunities to improve access along the seawall in support of American Cruise Line's vessel calls through the Aid to Local Ports program. Those applications are due on March 1st, and we have previously participated in the program through the City Park Fishing Pier and other various improvements at Paradise Creek Nature Park. We're going to talk a little bit more about this when Mr. Baumann provides a briefing during the American Cruise Lines item under your old business.
Okay.
That concludes Mr. Gullickson's report out. I have no further updates from the board.
Thank you. Next, we have the DeLong Agricultural Transloading Facility. Charlie, good morning.
Good morning. Yes, Madam Chairman, thank you very much. The DeLong Companies, as everybody knows, is underway with their project on the CSX property adjacent to the Portsmouth Marine Terminal. And in an effort to gain some additional federal dollars that are available toward the project, they've been applying for a number of grants. They haven't heard back from any of the applications yet from the federal level, just because things seem to be a little slow on that end. But they're asking, they've applied for 2 grants, and they've getting ready to apply for a 3rd. Now they're asking endorsement to apply for another backup grant from this body to go along with their application. It's the BUILD grant, BUILD, better utilizing investments to leverage development, overseen by the U.S. Department of Transportation. This is an action that's being requested, very similar to what you all had endorsed previously.
Okay. Does anyone have any concerns with endorsing for this grant for DeLong?
What are we actually signing on to?
We're endorsing support for them applying for the grant.
Well, we would be the technical applicant for the grant, and then we would enter into a sub-recipient agreement with the loan so that they would perform what's required in the grant.
Is there any financial encumbrance on us?
None.
The structure of this opportunity is very similar to the last two items that we supported on behalf of DeLong, serving essentially as a pass-through for the funding.
Like our normal grant process.
That is correct, very similar to our normal grant processes. So,
Any concerns? Good morning, City Manager,
Good morning.
Councilman. Okay.
we do have a resolution that has been prepared. I don't believe that it went out in the package on Friday, so it would need to be read. But the Vice Chairman does have a copy of that.
A resolution of the Portsmouth Port Industrial Commission authorizing the submission of a grant application through sam.gov to the U.S. Department of Transportation under the Better Utilizing Investments to Leverage Development, Build, and the Execution of Grant Agreements of present agreements with the Long Company Incorporated. Whereas the Portsmouth Port and Industrial Commission, PPIC, is committed to enhancing port infrastructure, increasing cargo handling efficiency, and strengthening global agriculture trade competitiveness. Whereas the Portsmouth Agriculture Intermodal Export Facility, Phase 2, aims to expand storage and handling capacity, building on Phase 1, transloading infrastructure to improve efficiencies, reduce bottlenecks, and optimize the movement of U.S. farm products to international markets. Whereas the U.S. Department of Transportation, U.S. DOT, administers the Better Utilizing Investments to Leverage Development Bill to provide funding for strategic port modernization and supply chain improvements. Whereas this project will increase intermodal grain export capacity through concrete storage, silos, advanced conveyance systems, and optimizing rail logistics, supporting U.S. agriculture exports by reducing reliance on barge transport and mitigating supply chain disruptions. Whereas the Portsmouth Port and Industrial Commission seeks to serve as the lead applicant for the Bill grant and collaborate with the U.S. Department of Transportation to establish all necessary agreements for project implementations, and whereas the DeLong Company Incorporated is a key project partner and will serve as a sub-recipient responsible for facility ownership and operational management to execute the proposed logistics and export model. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Portsmouth Port and Industrial Commission as follows. 1. Authorization to apply. The Portsmouth Port and Industrial Commission is hereby authorized to prepare and submit a grant application through sam.gov to the U.S. Department of Transportation under the Better Utilizing Investments to Leverage Development Build for the Portsmouth Agriculture Intermodal Export Facility Phase 2. 2. Coordination with U.S. DOT. The Portsmouth Port and Industrial Commission is authorized to negotiate and execute any required grant agreements with the U.S. Department of Transportation to facilitate the administration and implementation of the Bill grant. 3. Subrecipient agreement with the DeLong Company Incorporated. The Portsmouth Port and Industrial Commission is authorized to negotiate, finalize, and execute a subrecipient agreement with the DeLong Company Incorporated, ensuring compliance with all federal requirements and defining roles and responsibilities for the project. 4. Project objectives. The Portsmouth Port and Industrial Commission affirms that the project will enhance U.S. agriculture export efficiencies by optimizing intermodal container utilization and reducing freight repositioning costs, shift U.S. agriculture exports from congested river transport to a stable rail-based model, reducing shipping risks and delays. Improve rail efficiency with the capacity to receive and process 90 rail cars of feed by product, strengthening export flow. Construct concrete storage silos for increased capacity, structure, and integrity, and worker safety. 5, administrative authority. The chair of the Portsmouth Port and Industrial Commission or the director of the Portsmouth Department of Economic Development or the designated designees of either or authorized to take all necessary actions to implement this resolution, including signing required documentations, coordinating with project stakeholders, and submitting reports as required by US DOT. 6, effective date. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon adoption. Adopted this 27th date of January 2025.
You have before you a resolution that we will need a motion and a second.
So moved.
You have a motion, we are in need of a second.
I'll second.
You have a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Barham?
Yes.
Mr. Peterman?
Yes.
Mr. Rice?
Yes.
And Ms. Allen?
Yes.
Chair, the item is approved by a vote of 4-0.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, Norfolk and Portsmouth Beltline Railroad.
Yes, Chair, wanted to just come before you with an update on this project, which has been in the works for some time, but has recently made some significant progress and achieved some milestones. The property, as you are aware, is located along Martin Luther King Freeway in the Port Norfolk community. This is property that is owned by the Norfolk and Portsmouth Beltline Railroad. It had been inactive for a number of years, but the Beltline Railroad, in partnership with Raymont Logistics, a Canadian-based intermodal logistics firm, has begun transforming this property to serve as a agricultural transloading facility. So they will be bringing in ag products via rail that will then be offloaded and containerized for export through the Port of Virginia. So I've been working very closely with our partners at the port and the Beltline Railroad to facilitate this project. We did receive a Port Host Community Grant in the amount of $800,000 to support this project. That was in the FY25 round, and I'm pleased to report that they are very near to being complete. We have achieved a recent milestone, which was the base layer of surface asphalt on the property has just been placed. And you can see here on the overhead, this is the new rail yard configuration. So they've got new tracks and a new paved area for transloading and storing the containers as they are filled with grains and feed and meal. We are waiting for the weather to break so we can get a final finish coat of asphalt on the property. And once that's done, the Beltline Railroad will be looking to close out the grant and obtain their disbursement of funding through the Port Host Community Grant Fund.
Awesome.
In addition to the paved area, they did have to put in a stormwater management feature, a BMP, so there's now a pond out there which should also help improve some of the drainage there in the community, and specifically with the runoff from this site. So there's a small photo there of the new wet pond that has been installed as well. So it's a nice improvement in the Port Norfolk community there for that location. Are there any questions about this project or the grant?
Hearing none. On to 3920, 3930 Burton's Point Road.
Chair, I have my name listed on this agenda item, but I'm going to actually ask Mr. Baumann to provide an update. He's been working closely with our partners at Stonemont Financial Group, along with Julie Chopp, our real estate development specialist. Charlie, if you could just provide the board a quick update on where we
Yeah, recently, as we shared previously, there was a little bit of a slowdown in Stone Mine communicating with the DEQ on the federal level. That seems to have started communication again, and they're working through the federal processes. That seems to be going fine. They came to us recently, as you recall, Madam Chair, to now work through the same process with the Virginia Department of Environmental Quality to get all the necessary approvals to work toward an actual closing sometime soon. They expect that to happen hopefully by the summer.
Good. All right.
So is there any action required on anybody from the city of Portsmouth?
Not at this point.
Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, we're moving on to 1603 7th Street.
Chair, just a quick update that this property is being marketed for development. The property, which is about 2.8 acres just south of the Frito-Lay PepsiCo facility in Ford Center, has been consolidated in terms of the two parcels becoming now one. And we have been sharing this property with a number of industrial development groups, as well as some commercial developers to determine their interest. We have a few that have expressed potential interest in a small-scale industrial facility. So we continue to work this. Hopeful that we'll have something before you in the coming months for consideration. Just wanted to make sure you were aware that this was continuing to be a priority for staff as we're working to market the property for an appropriate development partner.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay. American Cruise Lines.
Well, as Mr. Donahue had shared, there's an opportunity to approach the Virginia Port Authority under their policy, let me read it correctly, policy on grants to local governments for financial assistance for port facilities. So as a result of that, we are going to present to their committee on February 12th this project and the importance to the city of Portsmouth and American Cruise Lines with a submittal date, grant submittal date of March 1. And hopefully that will help us defray most of the cost associated with any improvements that are going to be accomplished on the waterfront to assist American Cruise Lines in their business transactions along the waterfront and hopefully increasing the number of port calls in 2026.
Any questions?
Has the city done anything besides what you're doing? I mean, as far as making Portsmouth one of the places they visit, or the Department of Tourism, or?
Yeah, we're working a couple of things, and it's a great question. We're working with our Department of Tourism and the Old Town Business Association and Portsmouth Partnership to formulate a better landside activities when the vessels do call and when the customers do arrive in the city. So, and conversely, American Cruise Lines is adjusting some of their collateral material. Previously, it was designating Norfolk as the port of call. It'll now read Portsmouth as the port of call, and all of their cruise information that gets distributed all over the world, actually. So, yeah, we're working together.
Okay, thank you.
Would it be possible, as you guys are working towards what excursions or activities could be done in the city that come to us, just to kind of
Sure.
give a presentation on that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And exactly what are we asking for? We're looking for
Money.
to do what?
to make the, principally the water and sewer improvements along the waterfront and maybe some other ancillary improvements along the promenade there to accommodate the vessel call.
Okay.
Maybe modifying the fence a little bit, putting some gates in place, things like that.
And no structures or anything like that?
Yeah, not right now, no, there's no intention of that.
Okay. We are on to our new business, the Portsmouth Vision 2030 Strategic Plan.
Chair, thank you. Really excited about this item. It is something that our department has been working on for, going on 6 months, which is the Vision 2030 Strategic Plan. This is really the playbook for how the Economic Development Department will execute all the prioritized initiatives that have been identified by Portsmouth Port and Industrial Commission, the Economic Development Authority, City Council, and our city leadership on how we will advance economic opportunity in the city over the course of the next 5 years. We have here today John Martin, who is the president of SIR. They are a consulting firm that has been providing support and assistance and really helping to lead this initiative, and really excited to share what we have prepared with you. We were before the Economic Development Authority last week with a similar presentation. I think today we've looked to maybe kind of gear this a little bit more in line with the PPIC's focus, specifically with industrial and maritime related activities, but it will encompass the overall plan altogether. So we have an executive summary that we would like to present to you today. So John Martin has come down from Richmond, which is where he's based, to join us today to provide you with an update on the plan and presentation. So John, if I can hand it over to you. That should work as you get closer. It's not working from back here, but I think as you approach, it should work.
Great. Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm going to give you the highlights of this strategic plan. There is a full document that is put together by many of the department leaders that make up the Portsmouth Economic Development Department. And so it has really been a team effort. And so my firm has played the role of coach, but also of bringing a perspective from around the country. We get to work with a lot of cities and mega regions and pull in data that really provides context. So I'm going to share some of that with you as we go through this. But as Brian said, this has been a 6-month process, and it really has followed sort of the methodical path of doing a strategic plan, of getting all kinds of inputs from different groups, and then going deep with data and looking at the industry makeup here, but also the performance of Hampton Roads vis-a-vis some of the other comparative cities for the context of what we're trying to do. And then the pillars of the plan we have great detail on, but we're going to give you the highlights today. So the overall goal is truly economic development. We really want to accelerate Portsmouth's growth, economic growth, create great jobs, and enhance the quality of life of all residents. So that was our North Star in putting this together. I'm going to give you just a few minutes on background for context. Virginia and Hampton Roads faced some big headwinds, and it's always important when you do a plan that you just don't blue sky and say, we can do whatever we want to do. You got to understand the reality of what you're facing. And so when we look back 20 years, we go back to early 2001, we see this orange line is Virginia, and Virginia was leading the way in employment growth in about 2014, but now it's lagged behind all of the southeastern states in employment growth. And then when you look at economic growth, and that's GDP, gross domestic product, that growth, you can see, a good year that we're actually in real growth are happening in the orange line compared to the southeastern states, but economic growth, we're now lagging. So Virginia is lagging behind all the southeastern states. And then when you come to Hampton Roads and compare Hampton Roads to all of these comparative regions, and these are predominantly in the southeast that we find ourselves competing against, but when you compare Hampton Roads to this comparative set, our employment growth has lagged for some time, and the same thing with GDP growth. And I always say The easy way to look at this is to do the crane research. And so when you fly into Charlotte or Orlando or Nashville, when you get off the plane and go to the downtown area, just count the cranes. And then when you come back here, do the same. And I live in Richmond and in Norfolk, and I do it every day. I keep looking around saying, those cranes really, or it's just a good way to understand these numbers, that we are behind. So that's just context for you doing this plan. Our primary industries offer opportunities and challenges. And you guys are a commission that knows the primary industry here of shipbuilding. It's 1 in 4 jobs today in Portsmouth workforce, but it's had a great increase, 45% since 2001. So this is your industry. And this is a little bit of an eye chart, but it's really important. This looks at LQs, which are location quotients. And so in the economic development business, when people are thinking about where to move a business, they want to understand, is there a preponderance of workers in that category? Does this location that I'm thinking about, compared to other locations or compared to the country, have more workers, a higher concentration of workers in a category that I'm interested in? So in this case, when you look at advanced manufacturing, which is shipbuilding and ship repair, and you look at, for each one of these jurisdictions that make up Hampton Roads, but look at Portsmouth, yes, a large employment base, but this location quotient is 6.48. And then I think these are ancillary industries, defense and distribution and logistics, and really high LQs. If you're over 1, it means you have a greater concentration than the average city or those cities that you're comparing yourself to. And so the guys, the site selectors, really want to see something like a 1.25 or something like that to get them excited about, there are going to be enough workers here if we take our client and move to this jurisdiction or expand in this jurisdiction. So really exciting to look at these numbers, and then if you look at it across all the other jurisdictions here, you see this incredible competitive advantage that Portsmouth has. You guys are a shipbuilding town. And I know that's taking tolls to Newcastle to this commission, but this is looking at it with the hard numbers right here. You also have to look at what's making up that shipbuilding industry and that workforce. And so this is looking at the top 6 industries using a 2-digit SIC code. And these are the top 6 industries that make up Portsmouth. And you can see you've got about 46,000 workers. But the biggest one is manufacturing, which is shipbuilding and ship repair. Pretty high annual wages, but looking across this and looking out for 10 years, you say the first thing you can look at is go, okay, well, we're going to have some exits. People are going to retire. We're going to have some transfers because people leave industries and go to other industries. But our total growth it's kind of flat. But the total demand over the next 10 years is 10,000 workers. And so look at your current workforce. You're going to have to replace the current workforce, which is natural in any industry. There's a churn, if you will, that goes on. But what this says to me is that workforce and development critical to making sure we have those workers and that we have them here. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that when we get to our strategy portion. But just wanted to show you these numbers. So whenever you hear about workforce training and development, you got to say, let's lean into that because we really have to support our big industries. And there's some opportunity clusters in doing this analysis. And this was one of the big surprises, actually. We are dominated by these big advanced manufacturing, shipbuilding, ship repair, defense, distribution. But look at healthcare. Healthcare, almost 8,000 jobs in Portsmouth, but it's the only other industry outside of those 3 that have a more than a 1.0 LQ. So it says we have a little bit of an advantage there. So what if we were to nurture that? What if we were to try to do, bring some magic to that, get the CEOs of the healthcare organizations and really try to lean into this to see if we can grow this even more, because we have a slight advantage in it. There are no other segments or clusters where we have that sort of over 1 LQ, except for those 3 that I just mentioned. Good news is that city leadership is really aligned. We have presented this plan to City Council, and when we first started putting it together, we were looking at the mission and the vision. We're like, oh my gosh, the mission of the city even mentions promoting economic growth, which is terrific, and not all cities do that. And then the vision is to be offering an innovative environment where all residents can flourish and contribute to the future. So we took this, we did a lot of work on culture and what some of the values should be of the Portsmouth Economic Development Authority, and all aligning to where the city's headed. That is so important that you guys act as one. And you've been doing a good job. Most recently, there is momentum. And if you look at some of these factoids around this circle, it really, to me, says there's a new Portsmouth underway. A lot of excitement. You're getting a lot of traction. You're hearing a lot about the big three, the Waterfront Development and Innovation District called LINK, and then the Innovation District LINK, and then the Entertainment District, and the Portsmouth Casino success, and now the new hotel announcement. But also with shipbuilding and ship repairing, but some of the announcements by some of the companies has been really positive. So we feel like there's momentum here, even though we have this huge task against the setting of where Hampton Roads is compared to the comparative regions. There still seems to be now a new date forming and momentum forming. So that takes us to the strategic plan. What are the goals for that plan? And we came up with 7. We really want to lean into the shipbuilding and ship repair defense industry, and that means focusing on that supply chain and the workforce. And I'm going to come back and share with you how we're going to do that. Diversify that economy. That healthcare looks like a big option. Logistics too, but this is one that the healthcare, we really think we have an opportunity to grow that. Retain and expand our existing employers. You've got to always focus on business retention and expansion as the bread and butter of every economic development plan. This future-ready workforce, critically important as you saw those numbers. The big 3, there are plans for each one. In fact, I think, Brian, tomorrow there's going to be a public event on the waterfront. So that has to be part of the plan, and a lot of work by the authority has gone into this. So that was incorporated into this overall plan. And then the small business and startup success. Let's be more intentional about that and seeing if we can focus it on some of these supply chains, in particular healthcare, and then the shipbuilding, ship repair. And then the last one is let's bring the latest technology, and I'm saying AI-supported technology, to this economic development department. Let's really, if we're going to lean into recruiting, let's make sure that that funnel is fueled by AI so we can be so efficient. And there are a lot of tools now with Salesforce that you can really leverage, and that's what we want to do, and really make Pete a world-class economic development organization. So we came up with 4 pillars to package all of this. Strategic pillar 1 is double down on advanced manufacturing, which is shipbuilding and ship repairing. Strategic 2 is deliver on the big 3. It's really a catalyst for the new Portsmouth. Strategic 3 is identify and accelerate tomorrow's growth sectors, and starting with healthcare. And then pillar 4 is leveraging Portsmouth's regional technology leadership, because many of the things we're talking about, what really supports it underneath is technology and digital infrastructure. So I'm going to give one slide on each one of these to show you where we're headed, and then open it up for questions. The shipbuilding and repairing and defense, what we're talking about is starting with the roundtable. And I think some of you guys were probably in the first roundtable meeting. We want to institutionalize that and get them back together, share the details in our plan, and probably a bigger presentation than this, but get them excited about where we can go and how we can really help them, and put together a micro plan with them on the category, but really have them own the plan and agree to meet with us every quarter. And then, as part of that, put together an outreach plan to go after the supply chain and to work with the shipbuilding, ship repair companies to say, who do you need, who could we get here closer, and how do we actually go out and aggressively recruit them? And that's something that this group hasn't done in the past. We've always leaned into the alliance doing all the recruiting, but now we're going to be much more aggressive and direct at doing that, and having a process and a system that can really put some rocket fuel into that. And then the workforce recruitment and training, and Leo's here, his group has been doing a good job saying, you know, we're not just going to line up the existing training resources and let them bring their curriculum to us. We really need to work with this roundtable and develop the curriculum that is needed the most and help write that curriculum, and then get the trainers that we hire to come in and do that training using our curriculum. And so it's a little more intentional, just like the outreach, like the recruitment outreach. And then let's do the exact same thing for entrepreneurial and small business development. Really try to focus it on these three big core industries, but also on healthcare. And so being much more intentional there as well. Don't just say, we'll just help anybody get into business. Try to say, here are the opportunities that we're hearing from the roundtable and from the shipbuilding and repair industry. Pillar 2 is the big three. I'm not going to go into this in any great detail, but to tell you that what we want to do is really coordinate city departments. And we heard this from the city manager, that the economic development department has the responsibility to look up and out and to think about how to be of help to all the other departments. I think about something like downtown parking, and there's an effort to build a parking garage. Well, wait a minute, let's think about beyond that parking garage, all of downtown and how it impacts these developments. And so I think because of the work of the Economic Development Department, you get to have a higher 30,000-foot view and use that view, and being encouraged by city leadership to take on that responsibility. Not to own everything, but somebody's got to be looking there trying to help the city manager connect the dots. And then engaging city council and city leadership in the entire community in the big three, just like what's going to happen tomorrow. But really keep the community informed, really coordinate with city communications. This is remaking the visual cues of the new Portsmouth. These three developments are going to transform Portsmouth, and it's going to make the whole region look at Portsmouth in a different way, making these successful. And then pillar 3 is the growth sectors. We talked about healthcare being the first one. Form an industry council, just like the roundtable for shipbuilding and ship repair. Let's really build this healthcare growth category and get the anchor CEOs on that roundtable. Let's develop, go beyond that. I think logistics has an opportunity, and a certain subsegment of advanced manufacturing, additive manufacturing, is another candidate that we want to go deeper on and do research. But we wanted to use that same model for each one of these, starting with healthcare, and make healthcare an example of the intentionality, really turning it into something that's growing faster. And then the last one is the technology leader, being a technology leader in innovation and talent. I don't know any job today that isn't have to have some sort of technology discipline and competency. And everybody needs to continue to upgrade and understand how to go forward. And I think about AI and where that's headed. Everybody needs to become comfortable with and competent in using it. And you need to have the digital infrastructure that's going to support you. When you think about where AI is headed, today it's the large language models that all of us use. Chat is probably the most used, or the one that everybody knows. We're gonna move from those large language models just predicting the next word and helping us all learn, to models that actually run the workforce ecosystems all around us. And so agentic AI is called. We're just starting it, but soon every single industry, City Hall is anything that's a workflow process is going to be automated. And it's going to be working for us in the background. We have to prompt AI now. In the future, we're not. These little micro systems are going to make us all so efficient. But the way they work is having local digital infrastructure. That Southside network backbone you're hearing about, that's one thing, but edge data centers that are close to the end users, more robust local terrestrial networks, internet exchanges that link those networks, and meet-me rooms, all of this is going to define the winning cities of tomorrow. And all of it is going to make local AI, those systems I'm talking about, work really for us. And if a community doesn't have a robust digital infrastructure, it's not going to be a winning city of tomorrow. So we're excited that this fourth pillar is all about how do we become one of the leaders in, I call it technology, but it's digital infrastructure. How do we get ready for some edge data centers here? How do we make sure we are tapping into that Southside Network Authority? You guys have already made a big step in creating an authority, a Portsmouth Broadband Authority, but there's more work to do here, and we need to get partners involved in this, and we need to focus it on our anchor organizations. We need to focus it on these large shipbuilding, ship repair companies. Make sure we're delivering what they need so we can grow the economy with them. So building that world-class technology backbone with their current partners, Southside Network Authority and our own broadband authority, but connecting to our anchor institutions, making sure they have what they need. Nobody's going to be against us doing this. Everybody's going to be for us in solving for how we can remain or be competitive in the future. And then it gets down to the workforce training, that all of our workforce training needs to include that digital literacy and competency. And all the way down to, if some people don't have computers, we got to get computers in their hands. And it's just a whole comprehensive way of thinking about this, because it undergirds all the other three pillars. We have to be done this way. And we have to deliver on this plan and be accountable. So the last part of the plan is about ROIs and having a real clear KPIs and a real clear dashboard that you guys can look at and watch us against each one of these pillars, how we're delivering on time and on budget. So that's what our comprehensive plan is about. I will say, in doing this process, the entire Portsmouth Economic Development Authority, the whole staff met probably 6 different full days, everybody working on their individual sub-department plans, but then looking up and helping their fellow department leaders figure out how to make all these plans integrate. And so it was an amazing thing to watch, to see this plan come together and to be owned by this whole department. So I think like there's a new Portsmouth, there's a new Portsmouth Economic Development Department at work here. And so it's been a privilege to put all this together and to really look at the whole program now as a fully integrated piece and really understand that everybody has a stake in this, from the city council, the city manager, to the EDA, to your group. So I'd be happy to answer any questions, but that's what we're doing. And there's a 100-page document if you're looking for more detail, but it's been a pleasure to put this together.
So where do you find that 100-page document?
I've already asked Brian to send that out to us.
Yes. So we will be emailing both the presentation from today's meeting along with the full strategic plan following the meeting. I want to share
I
that.
have 2 other questions. Have you identified any long poles in the tent to this process?
Well, I mean, in terms of just holding it all up, what's the key? Yeah, I would say the shipbuilding, ship repair, it is something we have, and we need to double down on it. And I think the region is waking up to this. And so we need to do a better job packaging what we are and the innovations that we have here, and really talking about us as a shipbuilding, ship repair innovation hub, and really attracting the workforce that we need here and other supply chain folks here. So making that compelling case of what we already have and making that to the supply chain and making it to into future workers. So that to me is where we got to focus everything around that and grow that.
It seems to me that one of our long poles in the tent is our geography. We're fixed in how much available land we have here. And I see Norfolk, has developed a whole waterfront area to support HII. And we can't, because there's no land except for Craney Island, which we seem to just blow that off every year. It's a never-ending story that the Army Corps of Engineers doesn't want to answer the question. And we could double the size, maybe triple the size of our industrial capability. If we would decide that's not going to be a terminal, it's going to be a place to build stuff.
Yeah.
And I guess the other question I have is there a pull, POA&M, pull off another miracle kind of thing that, assigns deadlines and people to do them and all those sorts of things? Or is that part of this 100-page document?
Speak to that. It's part of the document, Mr. Peterman. The plan is really a step-by-step guide for our department to execute on all these initiatives. It's a 5-year plan. It includes immediate, near-term, intermediary, and then long-term action. So we've got actual steps and activities that we'll be undertaking in executing the plan as staff to deliver, the results that have been identified and are desired. So we will be working every year with what has been defined in the plan to execute and deliver. So it very much identifies how to get to that miracle, I think, that you referenced.
Yeah. Thank you.
Councilman and city manager, your thoughts on the plan?
Well, I've seen this plan several times, so absolutely, absolutely on board. Got my input along the whole way, so.
Citizens,
yes.
They haven't been involved.
Councilman Hugel?
Yeah, so I had the chance to see this at the retreat last fall, and then discussion last week at Economic Development Authority. So the slides have already been tinkered with from last week until this week. A couple of comments. I've been thinking about this since the presentation last week. So if we say that shipbuilding and ship repair is 6 point something on the location quotient and 10,000 jobs currently, or 11,000 jobs currently. Secretary of the Navy was just visiting Huntington Ingalls Newport News a couple weeks ago and announced that the country is going to go build the Golden Fleet. So I've been saying for the last 4 or 5 years that the shipbuilding industry needs 10,000 new workers a year for the next decade. So we're 3 years into that decade, and we haven't come close yet to 10,000 new workers a year in the first 3 years. So we're already behind the 8 ball. The SECNAV said in order to build the Golden Fleet, we need 25,000 new workers a year over the next decade starting now. Okay, so we haven't gotten to 10,000 across the country, and the administration wants to push to 25,000. What does that mean for us? Well, if we're really a shipbuilding, ship repair focused community, it's opportunity. I mean, we have the industry here. What we don't have here are the workers. And so the Hampton Roads Workforce Council has been working in collaboration with the Virginia Digital Maritime Center at ODU to build a Hampton Roads Maritime Training System. Okay, so what is that? So the Workforce Council actually visited Danville along with several of us went over on behalf of Starbase to see what was going on over in Danville. What we saw was a concentrated effort to create new welders, new machinists, and new, I'll call them quality assurance people, so people who know how to carefully measure and inspect. The Hampton Roads Maritime Training System has taken what Danville is doing and adding more things to it, because there are many other trades involved in shipbuilding and ship repair that constitute some of those 10,000 to 25,000 new people that the maritime industry is going to need to just do the shipbuilding that's kind of on the plate right now. And so the Workforce Council, working with ODU, is building out curricula. They have a start on the middle school curricula, they have a good start on high school curricula, and they're working in collaboration with the local community colleges, so Tidewater, Paul DeCamp, Virginia Peninsula Community, so 3 big community colleges in the area, to work on the curricula that need to be there to do workforce development in order to train the numbers and kinds of trade skills that we need. So who from Portsmouth is engaged in the Hampton Roads Maritime Training System? Leo, are you?
Yes, very much so. As a matter of fact, I held a meeting
already with TCC on that level to make sure that our needs are reflected in the curriculum that they're developing. I've also contacted ODU Career Center, trying to figure a way how we can co-plan and bring in the businesses that are in that field so we can better understand their needs and then make sure that the city here very well represented. One of the issues that we have is identifying those who will participate in the training. And into that area, I'm working with the school system already. So we can start with those who are in high school so that they are able to become aware of the areas that are emerging in the city and even across the Hampton Roads area. So we're supporting them. In fact, we've had the first youth occupational mentorship program here. And that was well attended. The school system, Boston, the graduates and seniors at the 3 high schools in the city. But we didn't just stop there. We also linked them with the community college system. And in fact, ODU has a list of those who participated. The idea is to make sure that not only that they are aware, but we start investing in that area. Make sure that the skilled trades and other training opportunities that we provide them will be much better aligned to support the needs of the businesses that are in the area that you just mentioned.
Okay, so Leo is engaged. Who else from Portsmouth is engaged? Answer, nobody. They got money. They got curricula. They have training facilities already in place. And best I know, Leo's the only guy from Portsmouth that's really being persistent with the Workforce Council to plug us into that. Now, if we're gonna grow jobs in Portsmouth Public Schools got to be engaged. The PACE Center, as it comes online, hopefully is going to take advantage of the curricula that the maritime training system has already created at the high school level. Virginia Beach, already teaching it. Chesapeake, already teaching it. Norfolk, already teaching it. Portsmouth, not so much. Okay, we got to get engaged. There's money. Okay, the Navy is investing billions with a B in workforce development. That's the only way they're going to get 10,000 new workers a year across the country. Billions with a B. So Sean Avery and Mark Whitney at the Virginia Digital Maritime Center speak on a regular basis with the SES up in the Pentagon, who is the guy writing the checks out of that $1 billion checkbook to do workforce development. We gotta be pesky customers of the Hampton Roads Workforce Council. They gotta know that whenever a conversation's coming up about workforce development in the maritime area, somebody from Portsmouth is in the room saying, we want it, whatever it is, we want it. We'll figure out how to use it, but we need it because the numbers show that if we don't do that, we're going to grow smaller instead of growing bigger, and that's going to be a problem for Portsmouth. Okay, well, that's on the maritime. Now on the healthcare side. So we've got this 5-year growth plan initiated at Starbase. We're in year 3. Part of that was a recognition at this kind of the same time that the Hampton Roads Workforce Council figured out that healthcare in Hampton Roads is an area where we need to grow workforce. The Starbase board said we need to introduce healthcare into our curricula. So the 5th grade in the Starbase program get a program called MedBase, just created 2 years ago as part of this growth plan. Okay, an exciting thing because now we have kids at 5th grade level that are being exposed to healthcare kinds of stuff. And when you talk to kids, they don't necessarily want to be a welder, but they might want to be a nurse or some kind of healthcare person. And so exposing them at the 5th grade, we thought, okay, we'll get a chance to to maybe create some interest. With the city's help and the city's investment, Starbase has outfitted a mobile classroom with the goal of putting our career investigation students at the 7th and 8th grade into the mobile classroom for a curriculum called Med Lab. Okay, so it's basically a virtual doctor's office where we can put career investigations kids into the mobile classroom, move it from middle school to middle school, put them in the mobile classroom and expose them at the 7th and 8th grade level to healthcare opportunities. And again, kind of teeing them up so that when they get into high school, because we have a career technical education course in healthcare. And so we want to get kids excited though to kind of head in that direction, because again, there's opportunity, there's real job opportunity in the Hampton Roads area if we can get our kids moving in that direction. They don't have to have a college education necessarily to do the kind of jobs that we're talking about. They can get certified in high school and go directly into the healthcare world. Again, Hampton Roads Workforce Council has recognized this and is investing in curricula and training for the healthcare community across Hampton Roads. Every time they talk about healthcare investments, there ought to be somebody from Portsmouth in the room saying, we want it, because they got money and we want their money. They got the access with curricula and instructors and training facilities. We want access for our folks, not just our high schoolers, but our post-high schoolers through Portsmouth at Work to get plugged into those things because that's where there's real opportunity. And so I guess the thinking I've been doing since the EDA presentation, and I didn't do this at EDA because it's been a week. But the next time EDA talks, we're going to talk some more about this because we got to be pesky customers of the Hampton Roads Workforce Council. They got to be sick and tired of hearing about Portsmouth because Portsmouth is always in their face putting demand signal on what they're trying to do to try to get the Workforce Council to carve out an investment to help us build the workforce that we're talking about, because we got the jobs and we got the people that at least at the 5th grade level that are getting interested in some of those jobs. So that's my 2 cents.
Amen. It was more than 2.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you as a former school board member that we have to think the long game with this. Are you still one of the liaisons between the schools and?
I am still school board liaison.
What has been, not necessarily verbatim, but what has been when you discuss this with them as a liaison and the two, number one, have y'all met? Have y'all been meeting?
Occasionally.
Okay, so that's.
We're planning to have a retreat between the city council and the school board in February, a Saturday one-day retreat. We're going to talk with the school board and the city council to kind of try to reach alignment around the goals in the city council education pillar. So the city council education pillar, and by the way, so John not only helped the economic development department with Vision 2030, he also was the facilitator at the autumn city council retreat. City council, as a result of that work, John and the city manager have kind of helped to put together 5 strategic pillars for city council focus. To your question, short-term, mid-term, long-term goals that city council is holding city council to, that the city council is holding city manager to, and that the city manager is holding department heads all the way through the city organization to. What we didn't do at the retreat was pull in the school board. What we didn't do at the retreat was pull in our constitutional officers, so Commissioner of the Revenue and the sheriff and so we got other folks to engage with still, but the next engagement is going to be between city council and school board to try to arrive at aligned goals between what they're trying to accomplish, what city council is trying to accomplish, and how we can collaborate together to work on something more than just the school board budget.
Understandable.
Has that gone down
There
to,
is information that I think would be, some of this information I think would be paramount for them to have, to maybe get a better grasp. Not saying that they don't have a grasp, I don't know what their grasp is on it, but just me hearing this information alone, my mind is already, oh, well, this could be this, could be this, could be this. But I also, because I have that school board background, where I can see being helpful to the school board.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
you look like you've been waiting to say something.
I have, because I just really applaud everything you just shared, especially the idea about becoming, just raising our hand and being in every meeting. We helped do the strategic plan for the Hampton Roads Workforce Council, and have helped Doug Smith and the Alliance in strategic planning. Part of this plan is to have roundtables where we can elevate this beyond just Brian and Charlie and the fine leaders here in this department, but really bring in the CEOs and really have everybody shouting Portsmouth first. And that's going to be the key. That's what I've seen around the country and other cities when you really get the CEOs involved. That's really what happened. We did a strategic plan for the Institute for Advanced Learning and Research. And now the business leaders out there.
That's Danville, by the way.
Yeah, are hyper organized and are all over it. And so that's what we have to do here. We really have to elevate this. So you guys meet on a regular basis, but we need to get some of the senior CEOs in the room and saying, this is what we all got to call the Hampton Roads Workforce Council. We all have to call a certain number of people or whatever. We'll figure out what the to-do is, but it's that elevation that will make the difference.
And back to Commissioner Peterman's comment about actions and assignments and dates and who's responsible. What assignments is PPIC going to give to themselves to move the ball down the field? Okay, this is more than just getting together to drink coffee and talk about the transload grain facility in Burton Street. This is our opportunity to move the city of Portsmouth forward in industrial behavior, in industrial jobs, in industrial growth. That's what we're all about. And so that means we, the collective we, gotta be in all the places where they're talking about making investments in those areas so that when they're looking for who can we write a check to, who can we hand this curriculum to, who can we invite into our training and our classrooms, that there's somebody there from Portsmouth saying, hey, we'll volunteer.
I just notated to Brian about that. We'll be discussing that where I can also be of help, because I believe that I can. Any other comments?
no, you basically, who has to do what to whom is the question that really needs to be answered.
Exactly.
And then the when.
And that's really the step that we're at right now. In terms of there's the plan, the strategic direction, and now we got to get to the tactical execution and what assignments.
Yeah, and so City Council's given ourselves the assignment. I applaud the Economic Development Department for giving themselves the assignment. There are other entities, including you guys, that can lean into this and help move the city forward by assigning yourselves similar kind of actions and then getting on with it.
Which is what I just said, we're going to be just having a discussion about moving forward.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? Thank you for the
Yes.
presentation. It was very informative.
Thank you, John.
And thank you for your comments. We now have a need to go into a closed meeting. Vice Chair.
Portsmouth Port Industrial Commission motion for closed meeting, January 27, 2026. I move to go into a closed meeting pursuant to Virginia Code, subsection 2.2-3711, 8.6, for the purpose of discussion or consideration of the investment of public funds where competition and bargaining is involved, where if made public initially, the financial interests of the governmental unit would be adversely affected, specifically regarding Project CR.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Barham?
Yes.
Mr. Peterman?
Yes.
Mr. Rice?
Yes.
And Ms. Allen?
Yes.
Chair, the item is approved by a vote of 4-0. We are now entering a closed meeting.
Thank you. Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Mr. Barham?
Yes.
Mr. Peterman?
Yes.
Mr. Rice?
Yes.
And Ms. Allen?
Yes.
Chair, the item is approved by a vote of 4-0. We're now in an open meeting.
Thank you. Items submitted by commissioners. I have none. Did the office receive any?
Chair, we did not receive any other items.
Thank you. Move forward to report backs.
Yes, I do have a list of report backs for you this morning. The first is the FY '27 Budget Committee. We'll need to begin to commence the budget plan process. That committee typically consists of our chair, treasurer, Ms. McSwain, and one other volunteer. So we are in need of a volunteer to serve on that committee. If you could assist with appointing one, Madam Chair, we would appreciate that. We'd like to start scheduling those meetings for February. If there's anybody interested here today that would like to volunteer, please let the chair know. The second item is the Statement of Economic Interest form that is due annually. I believe you have received an email from the city clerk about completing this form. There is a February 2nd due date associated with that. Please make sure to provide an original copy to the clerk by that date. If you need assistance in getting that delivered, certainly contacting our office. You can drop that off here. We're happy to hand deliver it. But they do need an original signed copy. Encouraging you to get that in by the 2nd of February. There is a late filing penalty. It's $250, so you don't want to miss that date. The next item is just to share the update on our Crawford Bay waterfront development project. There will be scheduled community engagement meetings coming up. The first, as was mentioned earlier, is going to be held tomorrow, Wednesday, January 28th, from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at the Portsmouth Renaissance. We will be providing an overview on the project, the process for soliciting development interest, and engaging with the public for their feedback and input on their priorities and desires for the property. That will include the other areas of the waterfront just in terms of long-range planning. But again, this is specifically for the Crawford Bay site, as that is the property that is being prepared for development interest. There will be a second meeting on February 12th at 6 o'clock. That's going to be held at the Bidewee Pavilion. And I will be sending out an email with some additional details on these meetings, to include some media kit and some speaking points for you. And then lastly, I'd like to make an introduction of our newest team member. I think some of you may have heard from her already. She's been over in the corner running this meeting very skillfully this morning, and that's Miss Danielle Harrell. She is our new administrative coordinator too.
I think I've met everyone.
Danielle joined our office at the beginning of January. She's been a fantastic addition to the team, really helping us to get organized. It's a really critical role, really helping to manage the office, and we've been really pleased to have her on board. So just want to make sure you were aware of Danielle's arrival, and that you'll be seeing her face, I'm sure, quite often and hearing from her on this one. Thank you for welcoming her. Chair, I have no other report backs. I think that covers everything on my list.
We have made it to our agenda. The time is now 10:25. We are now adjourned.